we're very happy and very proud to present Pitch for Change. For those of you who aren't familiar, Pitch for Change has been a long-standing tradition with the Social Enterprise Conference. Pitch for Change is the Social Enterprise Conference's business plan pitch competition. We invite participants to submit a business plan for an early-stage social venture. Then semifinalists are invited to the conference to pitch in front of a panel of judges. Winners ultimately receive a total of $12,000 in cash prizes and consulting hours from our industry partners. We're impressed every year with the quality, innovation, and diversity of applicants that we receive, and this year is no different. It's a testament that social enterprise continues to thrive and continues to attract talent from a variety of sectors. This year, we received over 60 very strong applications. From these applications, we selected 12 semifinalists for the conference. This morning, our semifinalists pitched to our panel of judges. It was a very close race, and after much deliberation, our judges selected 6 finalists. The finalists will be coming on stage to pitch to you, our audience, live in a few minutes, and this will be an opportunity for you to vote. We have an Audience Choice Award every year, and that's a $500 cash prize, so it's very important that you vote. Before I announce the finalists, I'd like to take a moment to thank our judges for doing our Pitch for Change this year. They worked very hard and dedicated their time for this competition. Our judges this year were Gordon Bloom, Director and Founder of the Social Enterprise Collaborative Group at Harvard, Taz Hussain, Partner at Wingspan, Michael Schrader, Founding CEO of Darksys Technologies, Erica Locke from Echoing Green, Leslie Leggett of Teach for America's Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation Initiative, Dara Pillay, Curator and Producer at The Promise, and Caroline Vance, VP of Deutsche Bank's Global Social Investments. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. Please join me in a round of applause. The finalists for the 2014 Social Enterprise Conference Pitch for Change are Love Brain, Drink Well, Shadi Karma, Toilets for People, Earth Enable, and Drive Change. We'll now be asking each of the finalists to come on stage and pitch to you in a 60-second pitch. And we encourage you to pay attention, take notes, and at the end of it, we'll give instructions for you for your favorite. Without further ado, let's invite our first finalist, Love Brain.
Hi, I'm Aline.
And I'm Caroline. It is so great to be here. Love Brain connects farmers to families through a line of gluten-free, nutritious, and delicious products based on teff, an ancient grain from Ethiopia. Teff is not only naturally gluten-free, but it's also super high in protein, fiber, calcium, and iron. In Ethiopia, where our supply chain begins, there are currently 6 million teff farmers who struggle day to day because they lack access to both credit and markets. Meanwhile, in the United States, there are 42 million gluten-free consumers who face a frustrating lack of variety for gluten-free products that are both tasty and healthy. And I know because I'm one of them.
Love Brain addresses both of these challenges. We finance seed and fertilizer for farmers in Ethiopia, and then purchase directly from the farmers as opposed to middlemen. These two activities combined will triple farmer profits. We launched our first product in December, a delicious pancake and waffle mix.
So delicious.
We sold over 900 units. 9 out of 10 customers want to repurchase Love Brain. By year 4, we expect to be working with over 2,000 farmers and have revenue of over $6 million. More importantly, we're turning value chains into value cycles.
Thanks for helping us make it green.
And next up, we have Drink Well.
This is arsenic poisoning. You can't see or smell it, but if it's in your water, within 3 to 5 years, not only will your hands look like that, but you'll get arsenicosis, an incurable cancer-causing disease. As a Fulbright scholar in Bangladesh, I evaluated programs designed to tackle this crisis and understand why, despite millions of dollars being spent, 1 in 5 deaths in Bangladesh still occur due to arsenic today. Moreover, 150 million people across India and Bangladesh are at risk of arsenicosis. I found sustainability to be the critical success factor, and how 60% of all water projects fail because jobs weren't being created and customers weren't paying to run the systems. Enter drink water. But simply, we remove arsenic and other harmful contaminants using a novel technology that disrupts current best practices in reverse osmosis. We then dispense safe drinking water into 20-liter jugs that are sold to households for the low price of a half penny a liter. Our team of Fulbright scholars has deployed 200 of these across 4 countries for pilot deployments, each with paying customers. We're Tranquil. Join us as we transform the global water crisis into economic opportunity.
Next we have Shadi Karma.
In India, there are over 200 million acutely malnourished people, but we waste $7 billion worth of food every year. Weddings are a big contributor to this food waste. For instance, in Bangalore alone, 943 tons of food gets wasted every year, and it could potentially feed 26 million nutritional needs. As you can see, there's a big disconnect between the supply and demand of wedding food supplies. Shadi Karma connects wedding food supplies to people who need the most. Shadi Karma is developing a web, SMS, and voice-based low-cost system to create and connect the donors and receivers of supplies wedding food. We are targeting weddings because of the auspiciousness, good karma, and blessings around weddings. We'll make this sustainable by charging fee from the couples through online advertising and through grants and donations. Similarly, no solution exists in India at this scale. So, we are planning to pilot in a wedding in May in Bangalore, and after piloting in Bangalore, we want to scale it across India. This is your opportunity to help turn food waste into nourishment in a country with the largest number of hungry people in the world. Thank you.
Next up, we have toilets for people.
So 2.5 billion people in the world still don't have a toilet. People are getting sick, they're missing work, and kids are dying. This is a health crisis on the scale of AIDS and malaria. I'm Jason, I'm an environmental engineer with 20 years experience, and I've installed toilets with Engineers Without Borders and with Toilets for People in places like Senegal and Haiti and El Salvador, and I've developed a solution. It doesn't require any infrastructure or any complicated technology. It's simple, inexpensive, easy to make, and easy to fix, and we call it the Crapper. We have been contacted by NGOs and entrepreneurs in places like Peru, India, and Nicaragua who want our toilet. We are ready to deploy to those countries, and the next step is that we're going to be making a plastic version of the Crapper, our number 2, that we're going to be selling to middle-class people in para-urban areas and also for disaster relief response. We're bringing a market-based solution by providing a toilet that people actually want. We're Toilets for People. Please join the movement on Indiegogo campaign. Thank you.
And next, we have Earth Enabled.
What if one of the most important tools to improving human health was right underneath your feet? Earth Enabled's mission is to provide healthy and affordable flooring to the 80% of Rwandans and literally billions of people in the world who can only afford to have their floors in their homes. Because dirt causes a lot of health problems, but while concrete floors have been shown to reduce diarrhea by 49% and reduce parasitic infections by 78%, these are extremely expensive. We're talking up to $500 for just 20 square meters to floor one home. That's why Earth Enable, and this is going to floor you, has designed a $30 floor. It's made of compressed earth material and sealed with a special oil we've developed that polymerizes very quickly with oxygen, creating basically a plastic resin on top of the floor, making it waterproof, abrasion resistant, and very durable. We've already had successful pilots across Rwanda, and our team, a team of students from Stanford's biochemistry department, medical school, and business school, like me, are super excited to scale this up, moving to Rwanda in July, scale it across the country, and eventually to the world. I hope this floored you, and I hope that everyone. Thank you.
And lastly, we have Drive Change.
Hi, I'm Jordan and I'm the founder of Drive Change. I was an English high school teacher on the jail complex Rikers Island for 3 years. And I say high school English deliberately because New York is one of 2 states that automatically treats 16-year-olds like they're adults in the system. As a result of this, the recidivism rate for this population is around 70%. When the young people come back into the system and talks about what the reentry need really was, and often the response I would get directly had to do with employment. So I thought, how can I create a business solution to help provide employment, but also teach transferable skills and connect with the community to incite people to be a part of the movement for criminal justice reform. I had my mind and my heart moving forward into it, and I just needed to follow my gut. Food. So, we're a food truck business, and I'm going to let Chef Roy talk to you a little bit more about the power of food.
Good afternoon. I am Chef Roy. I'm the chef / mentor of Drive Change / Snow Day, our first food truck, which is a maple-inspired food truck. We basically changed people's perception of what maple syrup is. You think pancakes, you think waffles, where we have pulled pork, we have maple grilled cheese, we have maple fried Brussels sprouts. So we are just changing the way society looks at maple, as well as how, more importantly, is how society looks at our youth, our formerly incarcerated youth. We want to change how they are perceived in society as well. This is one of our young, phenomenal young men right here. We're excited. We know it's Thursday coming in Dumbo, Brooklyn, so we hope if you're in New York, you can come by and see our wonderful big blue food truck that has Hurricane Sandy wood on the side of it, and it's also, everything is locally sourced.
Yep.
So that you can all
the sales from the truck recycle back into our organization to subsidize our program costs. So when you come to us and have a meal, you really are a part of this larger movement. Thanks.
Great, thank you guys very much. And now it's time for you, the audience, to vote. So you can vote on fulled.com or text a code to 22333. And this is the order of the Pittsburgh Change finalists. So we'll give you guys a few minutes to vote.
They gotta make what they're talking about. Just one time. Mind it. The possibility.
Everyone, could I ask the media support please to quickly put the city on? Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try it again. Hi everyone. Hi. It's the afternoon. It's Sunday. We're tired. We're getting there, and we have an awesome lineup of speakers this afternoon for you. First of all, my food friends still stuck. We're taking it to Mexico. I'm Pablo Bichara. I'm a first student HBS from Mexico. I love food trucks, I love food, I love anything that has to do with those things. So I love tuxedo. Anyhow, I'm here to talk about the exhibit that we're presenting this weekend. As you might have or haven't seen, we are showcasing a special interactive exhibit called The Face of Social Enterprise. And back in October, when we put together this awesome leadership team, we really wanted to think about a way to make our attendees experience social enterprise in a whole new different form. As you might have also know, I have my exhibit online. Well, it's fine. You can check it out later. We're celebrating 15 years of the Social Enterprise Conference, which is a huge accomplishment because if you think about it, 15 years ago was 1999, which means that we were talking about these topics way before it got into mainstream and popular demand. At the same time, the Social Enterprise Initiative at HBS celebrated 20 years. So we got together and put together this awesome exhibit with the help of you, with some pictures that you submitted. If you see the slides going on, the pictures in Spangler Mountain and Aldrich, you'll recognize some faces. So we see this as a way to spark a conversation about what social enterprise is to you, what does it mean, and then how do we envision it moving forward. So finally, I want to encourage everyone to check out the exhibit. Make sure you tweet us or Instagram your pictures using the hashtag SECON2014. We're going to be showcasing them in a little bit. And oh, look at that. Yeah, we just pretty want to make sure that you see this, that you make sure that the conversations start, and then if you recognize someone, make sure to say hi, talk about their projects. Here we have one of our awesome team members from the organization. I really should make sure you check out their jewelry from Vietnam. It's awesome. It was the best Christmas gift for my mom. Has anyone met Taka or Dina around? I think they're in the audience. Here they are. So yeah, this is the pictures that people sent us last week, which we really appreciate. And you can continue submitting pictures via our social media. Make sure to check it out, SECON2014. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.
Just to let you know, we're having some technical difficulties with the poll, but we're trying to resolve it. We'll let you know in a couple of minutes when we manage to fix it.
By the way, extra points to whoever collects all the signatures of our celebrities here.
Hi everyone, can we have all the Pitch for Change finalists come up on stage, please? And our judges, please. So we're having some problems with the polling tool. So what we're going to do is, after the conference, we're going to send an email to all of the afterwards. Sorry about that, we had some technical difficulties. So we're going to announce the winners of the Pitch for Change competition now. In third place, for a total cash prize of $2,000, we have Drive Change. Thank you. For second place, for a total cash prize of $4,000, can I get a drum roll, please? Love Grain. And finally, the winner of this year's Pitch for Change competition for a total cash prize of $6,000 and consulting hours from Echoing Green. Again, can I get a drum roll, please, Robert? Earth and Able. Thank you all very much.
Second place. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you again. Yeah.
His story gave me the courage to leave the security of a job in consulting and work as a Kiva Fellow in East Africa. Premal first began dreaming of internet microfinance while working at PayPal. In 2004, Premal took a 3-month leave to develop and test the internet microfinance concept in India. When he returned to Silicon Valley, he met other like-minded dreamers and quit his job at PayPal to help bring the Kiva concept to life and eventually to scale. Today, Kiva raises $1 million each week for the working poor in over 60 countries, and was named a top 50 website by Time Magazine. For his work as a social entrepreneur, Premal was named a young global leader by the World Economic Forum and selected to Fortune Magazine's top 40 under 40 list. And with that, I could not be more excited and honored to introduce Premal Shah.
I want to start by congratulating Tickets for Change winners. And also just for the folks that didn't win, I want to let you know that you're in good company. Every business plan competition and social enterprise competition that we entered early on at Kiva, we lost. and you know what's really valuable about it is actually the feedback, the constant sense of feedback, the forcing function of actually getting your thoughts together. And regardless of the money, really, and the recognition, it was really those early feedback loops and that honest, candid, kind of constructive criticism, really. While it kind of felt like a loss, I really think that this internet public good that we've really tried to steward along has helped more people because of that early feedback. So I'm really glad that so many people have entered into this competition, and I'm glad to know that it's starting a new social enterprise, the ultimate kind of a radical act of hope in an otherwise cynical world, and I really do believe that, and I do want to honor you guys. I was raised in Minnesota, and it was like this, suburbia. And when I was 5 years old, my mom and dad took me back to India for the first time. And I remember when I got off the plane, I knew I was in a different place. And it was such a rich and vibrant culture, such an amazing place filled with so much love from my grandparents and some of my uncles and aunts who I met for the first time. And every day, my mom and I, we would go out to the market, and she would buy the groceries for that day. And she'd also buy me an ice cream cone. And it was fantastic. It was uncharacteristic of my mom to eat ice cream daily like that. It was also uncharacteristic of my mom to drive a moped. I saw her in a whole new light. It was really amazing. And I remember we were walking through the market, hand in hand, and she'd given me a 1 rupee coin to hold. And as we were walking through, it had been the rainy season when we were there, so it was a little muddy. There's also sewage going through a part of the market. As we're walking through, I dropped the coin. And my mom, kind of seeing this, didn't want her 5-year-old son to get his hands dirty. So she yanked me in this other direction. And I wanted to pick it up, but she yanked me this way, and I remember looking back, and a woman who was much older than my mom, in a ragged sari, walked over. She must have been a beggar in the marketplace. She walked over, she picked up the coin, she thanked God, and then she tucked it away in her blouse. And that image of, what my mom was going to throw away or let go of as something that might answer someone's prayers, that discrepancy between a rich world and a poor world, that's something that left an imprint in my heart. I didn't know, obviously, what I was going to do, but it's something that really affected me, confused me, and it just didn't feel right. And I imagine every one of you here has some experience like that. Some experience that has left an imprint on your heart, and you might be clear on your why, you're just not clear on your what and your how, what you're going to do about that. Now, for those of you who haven't had that experience, I just read a column by David Brooks, the New York Times columnist. We talked about, the importance of sometimes just going back home to find that thing that is uniquely you, your passion, your reason. He talked about watching Sting at TED, who for many years after he was very successful, he just kind of got writer's block. And what became a week without writing a song became a year, became several years. And it wasn't until Sting actually went home back to the UK, where he walked around the shipyards where he was raised and reconnected with the past when the creativity flowed. And creativity and media and theater are all the same source. So for those of you who haven't found that, I'd encourage you to look at maybe perhaps just going home. And that's something that I try to do as much as I could, because my home doesn't feel so much as India as Minnesota, but it really did feel like India. Let me explain a little bit about my path in my 20s, since I know so many folks here are in their 20s, and I'm 38 now, but I thought it'd be most helpful if I could talk about kind of the up and down path of trying to find meaning in my life. And, when I was a sophomore in college, I was a sophomore at Stanford University. By the way, this is a graph of my age, and then this meaningfulness on it. Well, anyways, I was a sophomore, and I was an econ major at Stanford University. My brother told me to say that Harvard was my backup school. I can go well. All right. So, anyways, I was a sophomore, and I was in the middle of sophomore slump. My friends were all over campus. I was no longer living with my buddies from freshman year. It had been raining a lot. Classes became more abstract, I felt like. And, I was walking through, kind of floating along, and it wasn't until a professor who, thank God, he used microfinance as an example. It wasn't until that happened that I realized, oh my God, this is something that I could really spend a lot of time learning about. I felt my intellectual curiosity just explode. And the reason why is because it seemed like this incredible business approach to poverty mediation. This idea where instead of, say, top-down aid systems, you could complement that with bottoms-up systems that provide people the tools, savings, insurance, credit, that can help them manage their complex financial lives and help them cope with a crisis or help them capitalize on an opportunity. It seemed almost too good to be true. And then, of course, he talked about Muhammad Yunus, the winner of the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize, and the work that he was doing. But this is back in 1996. It was still early days, but I got so excited about it that I did everything I could as the internet was taking hold to really research it, do a lot of independent study, and that culminated with a research grant to go to the Self-Employed Women's Association in Ahmedabad, India. That's a group that works with about 700,000 women, and they provide a variety of services. What I studied was microinsurance, and looking at reasons for default and what percent of those reasons could actually be covered by insurance. And it was so fascinating to me. It's something that I actually wanted to do after college. And so I was contemplating, how do I get a job in microfinance? How do I get paperwork there? And as I was looking, it was actually quite difficult. Not only that, it seemed like the entry-level position didn't seem to maybe kind of build the skills that I was hoping to build. And so I was faced with a choice that I'm sure many of you are thinking about right now, which is, do you go into the private sector or do you go into the public sector? And as you can see, what I did, I chose to go into the private sector. I went into management consulting. And I'm really glad I did. I know that my happiness plummeted because I wasn't really connecting to the impact I was making when I was kind of creating a deck and delivering it to a client and hoping the recommendation might go through. But it was such a valuable thing, not the least because it allowed me to make killer slides like this, but really because at the age of 22, 23, it helped me learn a ton of things about, for example, creating frameworks, breaking down problems, so on and so forth. All of these things that really have served over time. Now, while management consulting wasn't for me, a kid down the hall from me at Stanford University happened to be the co-founder of PayPal. And he was like, oh yeah, we're building this thing that allows us to send money from a Palm Pilot to another Palm Pilot. And I was like, okay, anything beats consulting, that's what I was thinking. So I joined PayPal early on. And it was an incredible experience. Not only did I meet people like Elon Musk, who has founded companies like Tesla and Solar City and SpaceX. He talks about interplanetary kind of existence. Or Peter Thiel, who not only is the first investor at Facebook, but really is just a contrarian in all of these. He's talking about paying kids, young people to drop out of college with the Thiel Fellows program, or about how we can solve aging. There's some real free thinkers in that culture, and I really learned a lot from them. But I also learned about the power of technology to really bring us together, to really connect us in new ways. And I learned that by watching eBay sellers kind of talking to each other, communicating with each other, people trusting each other, complete strangers, and buying from someone in Kansas a flat screen TV. And 95%, 98% of the time, people would ship it. Before that, eBay existed with a trust system and things like PayPal, people usually did commerce locally. They wouldn't buy from complete strangers abroad. So this idea of how technology can, not only can inspire opportunity, but it can be sustained by trust. It was something that was really fascinating to me. So PayPal started spreading on eBay. That was the petri dish in which it grew. And it eventually got bought by eBay. It became a bigger company, and then as one person, I started feeling like this big company existential angst. And I wondered if I really mattered anymore, if I was really doing anything that was meaningful because it was so big. And so I asked to go on a sabbatical. I went on a 2-month sabbatical and went back to India to volunteer in a slum to work with a women's artisans group and help them sell their items on eBay. And I figured this might be a way that I could bring our skills in technology and help them create new revenue streams. Well, while I was doing that, as I was talking to some of these women, I noticed that they were borrowing money, whatever money they were making. A big portion of what they were, their household income could go back to debt servicing payments for informal money lenders or informal sources of credit. And I thought, geez, wouldn't it be cool if there was a way that you could PayPal a microloan? So I put up a prototype on eBay. And this is back in early 2005. It's a $100 loan listing in the test category on eBay. And I figured with the buy it now feature, if someone hit that, I would get the money in my PayPal account, the $100, so as an undivided data. I'd pull it out using my PayPal ATM debit card in Indian rupees, give it to her, and then over time, a friend of mine who would stay there when I returned back to the States would just collect the money with 0% interest. Let's see if we can make it work. And while it's, I posted this up at the end of the day, and then I went to sleep. And while I was sleeping, of course, it's daytime over here, and I came back the next morning to Internet Cafe to see that anyone actually hit buy it now. Well, no one had actually wanted to make a loan on the eBay website quite yet, but there was a counter that you can't see below this screenshot, and it hit 46. It's 46 views of this page. I was pretty excited that at least, it was surfacing. So that was cool. Well, then at the end of the day, I came back after volunteering, and I wondered if anyone could buy it now and wanted to make this loan. And the loan, this whole posting was basically missing. And I wasn't sure what happened. So I checked my email, and I got an automatic notification from the eBay legal department saying that soliciting loans on the eBay marketplace is illegal and forbidden. And they had no idea that I was an employee at PayPal, which is a subsidiary of eBay. Right? I had this anonymous handle, like Salsa Boy 20. So here I am, doing this illegal thing, but so excited about the potential of connecting people through lending to alleviate poverty. And of course, when I came back to Palo Alto, California, which is where I was living, I ran into Matt Flannery, Jessica Jackley, some of the early founders of Kiva, and they were building something very similar. And it made so much sense to me that I just wanted to quit what I was doing and join Kiva. And today, here together with Matt, I co-lead this company that looks very similar to this early prototype. The way it works is you can pick in $25 increments a loan amount after you pick the person that you'd like to finance. Then when you and a number of other people around the internet fulfill that loan request, it goes through local field partners. Now, the local field partners will oftentimes advance the money up to 30 days before the person is posted up on the website. And then what you're doing is you're taking the risk of that person. So if that person defaults, then you don't get your money back. And what you want to do is encourage our local field partners, typically microfinance institutions, to actually do things that they otherwise might not do, to take risks that they otherwise might not take. For example, doing grace periods with farmers, which might be seen as risky but are tied to the incomes of those farmers when they actually can sell their harvest at the market, or to reach a rural population, which might be more costly. And that's what we're trying to do, is help use this 0% interest capital that's coming through the website, that's risk tolerant because all of us are taking the risk, to basically allow our field partners around the planet to do R&D or to do new loan types that they might not have otherwise done. Now, as Royal Cohen pays that loan, and the average loan term is about 14 months now in Kiva, you get your money back to your Kiva account. This is my Kiva portfolio. I have $1,100 outstanding in the field and $169, $170 that I should really be relending right now. It should not be sitting in my account. And basically, most people choose to relend. And so, since 2005, I wanted to show you kind of how the site started. It started in East Africa, and then word spread on the blogosphere. And then something happened in October of 2006. Muhammad Yunus won the Nobel Peace Prize, and we were on PBS Frontline World. And during this documentary, our website crashed for 4 days. Our engineer, we were all volunteers at the time, but this was like a huge cash infusion moment. We put up a PayPal button saying, "We've melted our servers, help us buy new ones," because we're on the $22 a month plan. And basically, we raised $130,000 in donations to help get us on healthcare, to help staff up Kiva. And now most of Kiva's expenses is spent on programs that try to go and build that network of field partners and borrowers all around the planet and ensure that what's happening on the ground is high impact and financially viable. So it's grown quite a bit. We just last year crossed 1 million entrepreneurs that have received loans totaling over $500 million with a 98% repayment rate. And that's great and all. You think that it's just been up and up, right? In terms of my level of being. But that wouldn't be honest. The truth is that during the journey at Kiva, there's been times that I've even struggled with the meaning that we're doing. And let me tell you 2 challenges that we face. The first is a handful of randomized control trials have come out over the last few years looking at the evidence supporting whether or not microcredit actually truly lifts people out of poverty as early advocates claim. And what it found is pretty limited impact on poverty alleviation. It did find increases in entrepreneurial activity, so on and so forth, but it wasn't the impact that a lot of us working in microcredit have seen. In fact, Kiva's mission is to connect people through lending to alleviate poverty, and yet there's not a strong poverty alleviation effect in about 5 randomized control trials that have come out. That was really concerning to us. The second thing that was really concerning since starting in 2005 was we learned about a number of issues in microcredit over the last few years. High interest rates, high profitability in IPOs, which aren't bad, but just how much profit is too much, and then over-indebtedness. What if credit, doesn't really help? What if it actually puts people in a cycle of debt? It's a real difficult set of things that we're wrestling with at Kiva. Now, one of my mentors pointed out to me that credit, a good analogy, it's a lot like medicine. He said that basically medicine can really help people, but if done poorly, if prescribed incorrectly, it can actually harm people. And it's up to us to really understand how best to develop this thing. In fact, there's a professor at the beginning of medical school who talks to all the first-year med school students and says, 50% of what you're going to learn over the next 4 years is going to be incorrect, proven wrong in the next 50 years. We just don't know which 50% that is. And if you think about the history of people, like, what we used to do generations ago, blood lead. Today we poison people, chemotherapy for cancer. There's a lot of things that may be seen as barbaric in the future that today is commonly accepted. And I really believe that's where we are today when it comes to impact investing, microfinance, water and sanitation, so on and so forth. I'm so convicted that while it's the right thing, there are no silver bullets. It's imperative that we keep listening, we keep learning, we keep testing. And to that end, one of the things that we set up at Kiva is something called Kiva Labs, where we wanted to work with academics, practitioners on the ground, to really try to measure the impact of what's happening and look for a sweet spot of something that not only creates high impact, but is also financially viable, so that the markets can come in and really scale it up. And it's quite difficult to find, but I want to give you a few examples of things that we're pretty excited about. Now, I'm going to take the example of Kenya here. If this room were in the country of Kenya, just was there last April, everyone from here to here would be rural subsistence farmers. And the challenge is trying to create new income streams and help you insure against the shocks of all these external factors that can make life quite difficult for you. Well, we've identified a few companies that are doing some really great work. They're not perfect yet, but the patient capital coming through the internet platform, as well as other patient investors, can really hopefully identify something that not only creates high impact, but can really scale them up. Honey Care Africa is such a great example of this. They had a really interesting intervention. About 11 years old, as a social enterprise. What they wanted to do is put beehives, give these farmers beehives. It doesn't take up much space, and the great thing is that if the hive works well, it creates on average about $250 of supplemental income from honey sales for the farmer. Not only that, but when you get bees on your land, it helps cross-pollinate, right? So you're seeing crop yields 20 to 30% higher. So it seemed like a really great thing. And then not only that, if you can stimulate local honey production in Kenya, it's a new source of nutrient-rich sugar, right? So it can even have some medicinal value. You can imagine a mother with her infant child, switching to this form of sugar. It can be really exciting, triple win. Everyone really loved Honey Care when it first started. They won awards from the World Bank, a number of competitions. It was very exciting, but fast forward about 4 or 5 years into their journey, if you went and visited these honeycombs on farmer lands, what you can see is weeds growing all over them. And if you walked up to the beehive, you'd see that there's no actual bees in them. And so Honey Care really started to falter because for some reason the farmers weren't keeping up something that, theoretically should have really been awesome for the farmer. Well, new management came in, and the person who runs it now, his name is Madison, just started asking a lot of questions. And he kept asking questions, kept asking why, kept asking why. And then he realized, wow, the most obvious answer was sitting in front of us. Turns out, like you and me, farmers are afraid of bees. They don't want their children to be stung. They didn't want to go up and harvest the honey themselves. It was a great idea theoretically, but in practice, very, very difficult to achieve. And no matter how many trainings that they did with the farmers on kind of the right collection methodologies, in practice it wasn't working. So what did Honey Care have to do? They had to pivot. Based on this learning, they had to switch their strategy. And now they have essentially these, a whole set of collection agents that they have to build, which adds cost to the Honey Care outcome model, which pushes up the break-even date considerably. But now, if you go and visit the hives, they're working with 15,000 farmers. Again, average income gain of about $250 per farmer. These hives are buzzing again. And it's a really great example of how it's not easy, but how through this pattern of listening and iteration, we can hopefully move towards solutions that could really scale up. Now, the way that the internet community can help is you'll see that this loan here to OGLA is a 50-month loan that is repayable only at the end of the term. And it's so hard to get 4-year loans with single bullets at the end like this, because commercial investors, they want to get paid back every month if it's a wholesale loan from a bank, or equity investors have a certain IRR expectation where they want to earn a certain rate of return, but the model isn't yet de-risked. And so while Honey Care is learning and trying to really get back on this path towards long-term profitability, they split 50% of the honey revenue with the farmer and keep 50% for themselves. While they're doing that, they need that patient capital, and this is where all of us can be catalytic. Here's another great example of a really promising intervention that takes patience, but that can really help farmers, very, very poor farmers, move into the middle class. There's a group called Kiva, and they work in eastern Kenya in the drylands. And dryland farmers, if you look at the 1 billion poorest people on the planet, the vast majority make their living from agriculture, but the poorest set generally are in the dryland areas because it's like trying to grow something in a sandbox. It's very, very challenging to do that. Not only that, but Conservation International looked at that part of eastern Kenya and said that it's one of the 11 top priority areas for conservation. There's a huge deforestation problem there. People are burning kind of any kind of woods and shrubs for charcoal. It's the only way to make things neat. These are truly people who earn about 25, 50 cents a day. When I went out there, some of the poorest people I have met in my travels. What they do is they help farmers plant these trees. And the trees, if you can wait 7 to 10 years, they grow out 1 inch in diameter. They're eucalyptus trees, so they can actually find water pretty well. They've grown 1 inch in diameter per year, and if you can wait till 7 years, you can sell it in the market for about $30 per tree. You get another 50-50 rev share agreement. The average farmer will plant about 200 trees on their shamba on their land. Now, if you can wait till year 10, it can thicken to the size of a light pole. And that can be sold at the market, they estimate for about $100. Kamansa has only been around 5 years. They haven't had a real harvest yet. They now have 1.2 million trees in the ground, but there's not enough philanthropy to do microforestry, and it's a very capital-intensive process. So they're stuck in what is called a pioneer gap, which is they haven't proven the revenues yet. It's a really, really powerful model. I talked to one farmer, asked her why she did it, and she described this, in essence, the reasons why we do a 401k plan. There's savings for her retirement and for her children. It was really amazing, and yet there's so many risks with this. There's drought, there's pests, there's farmers putting on trees early and side selling it. There's all sorts of risks that we don't know about yet. Anyways, what we decided to do is, for example, in the first 60 days, Kamansa raised $500,000 in 0% interest capital, where the loan term is 10 years long, single bullet at the end. And it's because when there's a connection that creates an empathy, and when there's an empathy, there's a generosity. This engine come in and fill this gap to break these chicken and egg issues between what philanthropy can't help scale up and what the markets are afraid to invest in today. Kamansa is really struggling right now to raise money from equity investors because it hasn't been de-risked. But if they can continue to attract more and more patient capital, they can get to that first harvest, they can start proving these assumptions in the model, and then they can take it to equity investors, et cetera, and really hopefully scale up the intervention and really help a lot of farmers. One thing that was really cool, this is just a really great photo. Kamansa, realizing that having farmers wait 7 to 10 years is so difficult, realized that they also need to complement their efforts with short-term income streams. So now they looked at what was happening over at Honey Fair, Africa, and they started putting beehives on the farmers' lands as a way to basically have your field extension network have more of a kind of short-term monthly relationship with these farmers, not just a kind of see you in 7 years type of relationship, which has been pretty helpful. And the name of the blog post where you describe their experimentation with this, I loved it. It was trees plus bees equals honey equals money. So I thought that was perfect. Now let me talk about another thing that really concerned us at Kiva, and that really caused us to, instead of always going into a defensive posture, trying to explain, geez, here's why interest rates are so high. It's because it's so costly to do these $100 loans. Imagine a dirt road, imagine going all the way to the end of that, these farmers are so far away, it's cash-based, so on and so forth, trying to explain it. And in fact, on average, our Kiva field partners aren't getting cost recovery. They have a negative return on assets. We would explain all of this, but also deep in my own heart, a 35% interest rate in microfinance, which is the average worldwide today, just felt high. And I was wondering, is there anything that we can do to bend the cost curve? And one of the things I heard from Jack Dorsey, founder of Twitter and Square, is sometimes the best edit is a rewrite. And so what we decided to do is look at kind of new systems like M-Pesa and create a separate website where we can actually pilot some radical new experiments using technology and trust networks to bring down the cost. Now let me explain to you just the significance of M-Pesa. How many of you guys have heard of M-Pesa? All right, strong familiarity with it. I think this is such an exciting thing for financial inclusion. 2/3 of Kenyan adults actively using it. I read somewhere that up to 20% of the value of the GDP of Kenya now is being transacted through the system. It's incredible. And not only does it allow us to take the friction out of reaching people who are rural and far away and friction and cost, but one woman who received a loan on her phone said, "My husband may try to break into my phone, but he'll never get the money off my SIM." So what it does in terms of giving people their own agency over their money, security, privacy, I think it's just really revolutionary. So this system, just to make it really clear, allows me to send money to you. You can then go to a gas station owner, send stored value to that person. That person will pull Kenyan shillings out of their register and give it to you. It's like it creates almost a virtual human ATM network. Pretty exciting. So we wondered what would happen